Hello and welcome back to Read Becca. You are here again for my chatty catch-up on all my reading, everything I'm currently reading and I'm looking forward to reading, and I have a massive stack of books. I was continuing to have focus issues, so I read very slowly, but I really put a lot of effort and time in this week, so I got a lot done. And some of it was stuff I was obviously reading prior, so we've got a couple of big chunkers, which is exciting. So first off, I read a short story. This was from dailysciencefiction.com, which is not something I was familiar with previously. It's a site that will email you like a short or flash fiction story every day. This one is not actually science fiction. I don't think it qualifies as that. It's much more a fantasy story. It's Choose Your Own by CJ Levine, and it is a choose your own adventure story. It's only about 2 pages, so it's about you being kind of an adventurer and going out into the dragon-infested world. So pause for 2 minutes and go read the story, at least through one of the paths, and come back, because I'm gonna spoil it. All right, did you read it? I hope so. So if you didn't read it and you just want to be spoiled, so what I loved about this is that no matter what you choose, the dragon eats you. And the final line, well, so context, if you didn't read it, you make kind of 3 choices. The first choice is you choose what you wear, then you choose kind of your path to get where you're going and how you get there, and then you choose your response to finally being approached by a dragon. So the final line is, you knew the great beasts roam unfettered. Consider, what were you wearing? Where were you walking? Did you assert yourself? Go back to 1 and make better choices. So this is a really smart, brief commentary on the treatment of victims of sexual harassment, and I just thought it was very effective. So I really like this story. It doesn't have too much meat to it. It's only 2 pages, but it's doing a lot with those 2 pages, as well as doing something smart with the format where no matter what you choose, you end up in the same way, and that is a commentary of its own. So I really like that. It's also a 2022 story from this website, so I think it would be eligible for award lists for next year. So very, very interesting one to check out for that if you are an SFF award reader. So go check that out. I will have that all linked down below. Then, onto my chunky pile of books. First one I can't talk about. I read The Art of Losing by Alice Zeniter and translated by Frank Wynne. And this was from French. It's all about French Algeria, and it follows 3 generations, starting from the kind of withdrawal, or just before the withdrawal of the French from Algeria, and then an immigration story. So that's kind of all I will say. That's the basic plot of this from general text standpoint. And you'll hear my thoughts once you see my full review out on this after the results of the BookTube Prize judging round are over. So, yep, that's my BookTube Prize book. Then, let's get into my big chunky one. Pillars of Earth. We did it, guys. I finished The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett finally, and I'm not going to hold this up because it's so huge. So, I don't think I really want to talk too much about this one, honestly, because people have talked about this endlessly. So really, I want to give my thoughts briefly and not so much plot or anything like that. So the gist of it is this is following many characters. It's got a broad cast. It is following a huge span of time, decades, multiple generations, over the building of this cathedral before it's even started. So it's the inception of this monk, Philip, who wants to build a cathedral for the honor of God. We see him rise in the ranks as a young man, and by the end he is very old. So we see this cathedral as well from the builder's perspective. So literally Tom Builder is the guy who has always desired to build this cathedral. And so he's traveling around with his family trying to find some work, and like he aspires to this great thing. So they're kind of the main ones. There are many other characters, as I said. So I mean, I think that's what I would impart to you, that this is a big spanning story over time of the struggles, the political conflicts that happen over this massive amount of time. We see kind of civil war happen. We see major events within the church, but they're all very localized to within this small area, and this almost just community around the parish and how it affects them, how the building of the church strengthens or weakens the community in certain ways at different times. And so, setting aside the plot, jumping into more of my thoughts. This is a very interesting book from a theological standpoint, because at so many points you see different people justify either way of it's succeeding because God or it's failing because God, and so I had struggles with that because I no longer have, a religious association. So seeing that, I'm very critical of it. And so I had a hard time buying into Philip's perspective of it's always God, no matter what. And he even admits that he has personal pride in wanting this to be this massive monument to God. He wants to have accomplished something in his life, but he doesn't actually hear that himself, really. He keeps claiming that, oh yeah, really, this is for God. So beyond that, all of these dudes are very toxic. Tom Builder is the perfect example of the toxicity of masculinity. When we talk about toxic masculinity, it's not just things that hurt other people. He hurts himself through things that happen. He's actively doing harm to everyone around him by all the things that he is driven toward, constantly. He very much has a boys will be boys kind of attitude about a lot of horrible things. And yeah, he's just awful. So this story is hard to read because it's one where, for me, if this were a fantasy story, people would be saying, this is the grim dark of grim dark. The bullies and murderers and rapists almost always win in this, very, very often. And everybody goes around kind of being powerless. But then on the flip side, what I think is incredible about this is that it has that aspect, the masculine and patriarchal power is portrayed very, I think, realistically. But then we also have a very balanced view of having these two prominent women characters that are extremely well characterized. They are independent and strong in their own way, in a way that they're able to carve out their space within the society. And so I think this is a really great example of portraying something that shows kind of a balanced view of society where the women aren't just completely weak and powerless. In many cases, they are victims. They're powerless, but they take back power wherever they can in this story. And so I think this does a great job of showing that, rather than, hiding the women or completely cutting them out of the story as if they're not present. So I think this did a great job of that. I think I'm going to completely flip on this and everybody's going to be thrown, but I feel like I do that very often where I'm like, thanks, I hate it. 5 stars. Yeah, this was a 5-star read, for sure. I think this is truly an epic. This is a broad scale epic. This has amazing characterization, amazing scene setting, amazing world building. It's very graphic and horrifying. There are many on-page rapes throughout the book. So go in knowing that there's a great deal of cruelty to both animals and humans for entertainment, for fun, not even for a purpose in the story. So it's very difficult to read, but it's a feat. It's a literary feat what this book has done, I think. So I can see the value there. Is it my favorite book? No, I don't think it's a new favorite, but it's something that I can see the inherent value, and what's been accomplished here is truly something amazing. So yeah, I think it was a really, really stunning book, and I'm very, very glad that I read it. I'm very glad I have some other of Ken Follett's books on my shelves to pick up, because this is a really stunning book. Then, that's all I finished, which is not a small amount. Then I've got all my in-progress books. So first, Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. I'm about halfway through this, and as expected, I absolutely am finding it delightful at the halfway point, and pretty much just sat down and blazed through it, so I'm sure I will be finishing this one probably today, if not this weekend. And My Life in France by Julia Child. I'm about halfway maybe. And this one has been very slow going. It's very detailed, like anecdotes about France. So I'm trying to take in all the details, and my focus has been terrible. So I was rereading a lot in this one. And King Rat, we made very little progress on this one. So I'm going to very much be focused this weekend on getting through these 3 that I've had in progress for such a long time and knocking some stuff off of my currently reading. Then I did actually try to start one of my BookTube prize books and had to set it aside because the first scene was a dog dying. So I just can't win right now with that. Like, the animal cruelty is really a lot. Then I did pick up a different BookTube prize book, so More Than I Love My Life by David Grossman. And I have not read anything from this author before, but he and the translator of this as well won the Booker International a few years ago. So A Horse Walks Into a Bar is the one they won for. So I'll be interested to see this because I do tend to really like the Booker International stuff. So yeah, this will be an interesting one, and I will be looking to get into that hopefully this weekend. So I do have a somewhat surprising 3-day weekend. If you're in the US, you may or may not know that Juneteenth is now a federal holiday. It's very, very recently, and so I do have Monday as the observed holiday off from work, which is fantastic. So I will be really getting in some good reading. So I have a 4-day work week next week, and then I have the following week off completely. So I'm going to be doing a ton of reading, and I've got some fun stuff I want to do otherwise, but no like massive plans. I'm not traveling anywhere. So I'm going to get a ton of reading done, so this is going to be a very interesting next couple weeks. We'll see if I can actually get fully caught up on everything I want to, though. So that is, yeah, everything that I had reading-wise. And in terms of life stuff, it was a tough week with Coco. He is doing okay. We had one overnight that was really bad, and I basically just didn't sleep for most of the night. I think I got 3 or 4 hours of sleep over the course of the entire night. And he was really ill, so he's doing fine. His painkillers, I've sorted out some stuff. We're having problems with our scheduling on getting my stuff picked up for his painkillers. So yeah, I've sorted that all out, I think, with the shelter. So I had a trip to the shelter and a trip to the vet again this week. I've had like 2 trips every week the past 3 weeks. More driving than I would like. But that meant I got to finish my audiobook. I think that is it, other than the weather. The weather has been terrible. So it's been hotter than like the surface of hell right now. Yeah, we had over 100 for most of the week. Literally today is the first day I've opened my blinds because it has been so hot. You want to close blinds and curtains to keep your costs down, basically. It's been insane. Today it's kind of pleasant. It's a little on the warm side, but mostly pleasant. And we're supposed to get another day maybe tomorrow, and then back up into the hundreds. So not looking forward to it. This is way too early for that sort of weather. Normally we would not even get like a ton of weather this hot. We would usually get a couple weeks here and there in in July. And so this is very, very much early. So let's jump to the recommendations that I have. So the first recommendation that I have is Janny Wirtz was interviewed on Philip Chase's channel, and she is like a powerhouse of big epic fantasy. I have a whole bunch of her books on my bookshelves with all my classic epic fantasy, and yeah, she's just amazing. So definitely check out that author interview. So then I have Ruby Red, who did like an art journal type thing. So it's a wrap up of her previous reading and just a voiceover with the camera on the journal as she's doing these art pages. Like she's doing 2 double page spreads of artwork in the journal and to represent each book that she's wrapping up. And so I really enjoyed that. I am not creative at all. My mother is an artist and I did not get any of that gene at all. So I thought it was very, very cool. I've seen kind of simpler things done with bullet journals, and this was really much more like detailed, I would say, and intensive. So very cool way of wrapping up a month. I think that is it for my weekend reading and life and stuff. I hope you are somewhere it's much cooler than here. If you're not, if you're stuck in the heat as well, please stay cool and take care of yourself. And thank you all so much for watching. Doing some simple sauteed veggies with rice for dinner. veggies are almost done. We're going to set up our rice. So this is maybe weird, but I don't like this with sushi, the mayonnaise sauces, but I do like mayonnaise sauce with this. So we're gonna add a small amount of garlic, a dash of lemon juice, a spoon of mayo, add a half a spoon of soy sauce, and then we're going to stir it up. Then add our nice fresh veggies and a heavy dose of sriracha. And that's dinner. Ugh. Playing hide and go seek behind the neighbor's plants. Coco, where you at, buddy? Didn't see your tail. Coco. Coco, come out of the plant. There's Coco. I had to take these out of the direct sun because it's so hot. But look how great they're blooming. Like loads of blooms. Rue, are you just helping yourself to a snack? That's not even your food, that's Cinnamon's food. Just a small snacko. Huh. Are you guilty? I was cutting sleeves off my t-shirt and Rue wanted to help, so I let him hold the sleeves. He's a very cool hipster now. Huh. You got the cool hipster scarf, Rue? Oh, what a good boy. So stylish.